to Civil War Digital Digest. I'm Will. Well, if you're looking for a connection to the Civil War, a great place to find it is in the small local museums across the country. Today we've traveled a little bit and we get to see one of those museums. My friend Sean Cowger, who's the education director here at the Aurora GAR Memorial Hall and Museum in Aurora, Illinois, has invited us to join them. Let's talk with him a little bit. So, Sean, thanks for being with us and thanks for hosting us today.
Glad to be here, Will.
Yeah, so tell me about it. Of course, you've got the whole story of the war. Tell me Aurora's part of it.
Well, when the war broke out, Aurora raised a few regiments in the area, but one of the prominent ones was the 36th Illinois, and they had built a training camp just outside of town between here and Montgomery called Camp Hammond. The 36th Illinois was trained there. North of here in St. Charles, there was Camp Kane, the 8th Illinois Cavalry, who were famous for firing the first shots at the Battle of Gettysburg. They were trained there, and so they had a lot of history going on. Both theaters of the war, very prominent regiments.
So the boys come home from the war and they're spending time afterwards. Of course, we know the GAR starts after the war as a veterans organization. Tell me about Aurora's part in it.
All right, a local guy named Frederick White, who had been a veteran of the 36th Illinois, he had traveled, as many guys did after war. He saw a GAR hall in Foxborough, Massachusetts, and he liked it so much he wanted to build the same hall here for the veterans here. In 1877, they broke ground here and built this hall we're in now, and it is the clone of the one in Foxborough, except it's made of local limestone. This hall also, those guys were pretty young still, they didn't need a dedicated hall, so this was actually Aurora's first public library. So the display cases you see were actually started out as bookcases.
Wow, so this is something that both was a place for the veterans to meet and to be a civic service as well.
Yes. So later on, as they got older and they needed more of a place of their own, they built a post office and a library with the help of Andrew Carnegie. They attached to the back of this building here, which is no longer here. But this became a dedicated GAR hall after that.
So what happened? Of course, time marches on and the veterans are starting to pass away. What happens to this hall as the veterans pass?
Well, during the First World War, they actually had a recruitment center out front here. But as those guys got older, and in 1947, the last local veteran passed, this was used by the Sons of Union veterans, it was used by other public groups, but by the 60s, it had fallen into disrepair, and there was an effort during the centennial to revitalize the hall, which they did. But again, by the mid-1990s, it had fallen into disrepair, and it was shut down.
Well, Sean, this does not look like disrepair. This place is beautiful. Tell me the story of the rebirth of the hall.
So through a bunch of different organizations, the city of Aurora, they were able to fund this and get the hall back into a state where it could be used again, stabilize the building. And now last year in 2016, they reopened on Memorial Day, and we've been open every weekend since.
Great. So for somebody who would come through the Chicagoland area and come to Aurora, what do they see when they see your museum?
Well, you can come in here and we have a temporary exhibit on the walls downstairs when you come in. It tells a little bit of the background of the men that fought during the Civil War. And as you get into the hall, you have basically the story of Aurora's involvement in the Civil War, this hall, and people in general.
Is there a chance to see artifacts here?
Absolutely. We have some artifacts on display here. Eventually these will be changing. There will be more display areas, more exhibits, but for now there are permanent exhibits that are very relevant to the area here.
Wow, not bad for 1 year back after having been closed for almost 20 years. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, well, hey, thanks for taking the time to visit with us today and for sharing your little piece of Civil War history here. For the Civil War Digital Digest, we hope you've enjoyed the brief visit here to Aurora, and think about if your plans bring you through the Chicagoland area, come on out and take a look at this place. The structure's magnificent, and the pieces inside tell a really relevant story as you look to find a connection to the Civil War. If you've liked the episode, hit like and share it out if you would, please. We also want to say thanks to the folks who are supporting us over on Patreon. That funding is making a real difference in our ability to bring more stories to you about the American Civil War and our connection to it. We'll see you in a few weeks.
Since we recorded the episode, the Illinois Association of Museums has awarded its 2017 Small Institution of the Year award to the Aurora GAR Memorial Hall and Museum. Congratulations to the staff and dedicated volunteers that made this possible.